What you really want to be doing is minimizing your efforts. The stuff will naturally disappear as you do that. A lot of people want to simplify their homeschools, and they think that this means they have to minimize their stuff. But a simple homeschool does not necessarily need to be minimalistic. If you are trying to simplify your homeschool and you think that this means you have to minimize and get rid of all your stuff, this can lead to a lot of unmet expectations and disappointment. I talk a lot about simplifying on this channel. My name is Natalie Burns, and I show homeschooling moms how to simplify education so that you can be free from overwhelm and teach with easygoing confidence. So what does this mean? When I say simplify, this does not mean that you need to get rid of all your books. Maybe sometimes a little bit here and there can really help declutter and decrease some of the visual chaos. And all of us can benefit from a more calm environment. Maybe you are comfortable and calm even in some chaos in the room, but maybe your child isn't. So if that's the case, then adjust for them, because this is their learning process. If you are the one that just can't handle all of the extra stuff, then I encourage you to really work on letting go in those moments and allowing that mess to happen while still instilling in your children the habit of cleaning up after themselves. Keep your focus in that moment on the learning rather than on the mess. And this will allow your child to relax and let that learning flourish. You may have heard me say, because I say it really often, that learning is a messy and vulnerable process. And while I typically mean emotionally messy, it can totally get practically messy too. When it comes to simplifying your homeschool, if you are looking to minimize, then I suggest 3 areas where you actually need to minimize. The first area that you actually need to minimize in your homeschool is your time. We're talking quality versus quantity here. It is totally possible to homeschool in less hours than you are already. It is reasonable for an elementary aged child to aim for around 3 hours approximately, maybe 4 days a week. When your child gets into middle school, you may want to aim for more like 4 hours, and then high school, it could be up to 6 depending on which subject areas they are studying. This does not need to be the same each day, nor does it need to be the same week to week. 2 of my favorite ways of minimizing the time spent on your homeschool are combining subjects and combining grades. You can teach multiple subjects at once, and my favorite way of doing this is by using a theme. For example, you can do activities associated with science, art, history, math, all around the theme of transportation. When it comes to multiple children at multiple maturity levels, you can do one lesson time together, and then each of them break out into age-appropriate activities. So for example, if you talk about birds together, then maybe a younger child will study a feather and do some art-related activity with a feather, versus an older child may look at wing anatomy and discover how wings are adjusted for different kinds of flight. The second thing that you need to minimize in your homeschool is your involvement. Yep, I said it. Even if you are teaching your child, the learning is not yours. This is not about you. This is about them and them taking responsibility for their own learning. So do not try to do the learning for them. Instead, help lift them so that they can have their own creative interpretation of what they are learning. We want them to intellectually connect and think about these things. If they get the right answer because it was told to them or they found the answer at the back of the book, this is not going to foster lifelong learning skills. It's more that they strategized knowing how to be given what they want in that moment, which has its place sometimes, but what we really want them to learn is how to learn. So how can you minimize your involvement in your child's learning? Like I just mentioned, try not to answer them right away when they have a question for you. Instead, prompt them with some sort of follow-up question or hint for how they can get started finding the answer they're looking for. My favorite way to take the responsibility off of myself and give it back to my child is by using open-ended questions. A closed question, the opposite, has a straight up yes or no answer, versus an open question forces your child to think and formulate their response and communicate that to you. If you are looking for examples for how you can use open questions in your homeschool, I created a free PDF just for you. You can click the link below for that. And the third thing that you need to minimize in your homeschool is comparison. When it comes to checking out what other moms are doing in their homeschools and how other kids are learning their stuff, keep the inspiration, drop the shame. The problem with comparing ourselves to others is that it really reveals our shortcomings. We start to judge our shortcomings, and this just knocks back our confidence. Let's keep our homeschools judgment-free. I'm talking about deciding what is right and wrong, what is good and bad. We need to think of this more as a process or a journey. Success is not just the end result. Success is actually in the process to getting to our end result. So every day that you keep moving forward, that you keep putting one foot in front of the other, that is success. Maybe we see something in somebody else's homeschool that we really admire, or we see something lacking in our own lives that we desire to improve. A more helpful way to think about this and look at this is to direct intention for growth in that area. It is really important that we acknowledge and accept ourselves for who we are right here and right now in the present moment, while still looking ahead at ways that we can grow and learn and improve ourselves every day, which is a great way to model for our children lifelong learning. If you are able to minimize these 3 aspects of your homeschool, you are well on your way to having a more simplified and peaceful home. If this was helpful and inspiring or encouraging to you, I would love if you would join us for the next one by subscribing below. I would love to see you again. In the meantime, you can check out what I have for you over at homeschoolteachingsimplified.com. Well, I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you next time.